Greetings, I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat on the Love Train. Thank you for joining me. It's going to be an interesting one. This will be a freebie in that YouTube will demonetize this before I'm done talking because I'm going to use words they don't like. If I dumb it down and soften the words, it softens the message, and I'm not about that. You have to forgive me for my stuffed up nose. I got something going on, allergies, or I don't know what it is. I'm going to blow my nose. I'm going to mute you for just a second. Silver Surfer, hello, Michelle. XRP Andy, good to see you. I'll be right back. There, I'm back. See? All right, I appreciate you guys being here. Let's hit the like, please, if you guys don't mind. Gornash, good to see you. Greetings and salutations, everybody, he says. Jeremy Fowler's here. Big love, y'all. Boy, man, in Texas, they throw that y'all around all the time. They use it a couple times. Y'alls. It's amazing. Mike Brad, good to see you. Hello, Arwa. I'm glad you guys have joined me. We're going to talk. So hit the like. This is going to be an interesting one. I appreciate it. We're going to wait a couple minutes and let some more people get in here. Heard ya. Bert Ballstad, good to see you. Here we go. This is a good comment. We're all far more intelligent than given credit for. I like to think we are. I'm glad you're here, Vern. Whit, good to see you. Thanks for being here. JPB and the Sauce. It's a great name. Thanks for being here, you guys. All right. So we're going to wait a couple more minutes. You guys have a good day. It's a lovely day here in South America. I wonder if you guys, I'm not sure if you guys know where I'm going with this, but it's going to be an interesting one. We have 33 people. I can't see the likes. So if you could hit the like, be a good thing. It helps. Of course, this is going to be a freebie anyway, so it is what it is. And when they demonetize the video, they don't push it. And they don't push videos like this, I promise you. AVAC 4. Greetings. Thanks for being here. Glad you joined us. FP Kite. Look at this. He has an idea of where I'm going with this. Wants to hear from me first. 13 likes and 34 people. Wow, we can do better than that. You know what? Hit a download. I don't care. Doesn't bother me at all. You know, YouTube doesn't see it. It's just they don't care if it's an upvote or a downvote. It's just engagement. So I don't care if you hit a downvote. How about that? It matters not. You guys watched last night's video? At the very end of the video, I gave Katie one of her treats. It was great. She had it right near the microphone. Very cute. Boy, she can hear it. I got one now. She sees it. She's all excited. Marty Mongoose, good to see you. Hit the like button right away. I'm glad you're here, man. Thanks for being here. Vern, we are all one. We need to all love each other. Yeah, you know, anytime I talk about Charlie Kirk, sometimes people get a little crazy. So as Jeremy says, please be respectful tonight. Spread love and peace. As I said, I have the best mods in the game, and they have zero tolerance for impropriety. Cody Lee, good to see you. Hello, everyone. God is good indeed. He is. All right, we're going to get started. So I'm going to tell you what killed Charlie Kirk. You can tell me if you were thinking the same thing I am. What killed Charlie Kirk was the troll culture. That's the truth of it. That's what killed Charlie Kirk. Steve Connor, good to see you. Hi, Josh Cohen and family. Good to see you. Terminal Velocity, hello there. Haven't been on for a while. Congrats on the move. Thank you. Do you still have the kitties? I do. I'm looking at. Well, I was. Katie was here. She'll be here. I think she knows I've got a treat for her. At the end, I'm going to hook her up with a treat. So what killed Charlie Kirk was troll culture. And that's just a fact. I believe that anyway. Jazzy, JD, Jazzy. I'm just calling you Jazzy. Good to be here. I'm glad you're here, Jazzy. Thank you. The Gamer Drew, hello there. A bunch of great people here. Jane Aldrich, rock star. Here's the problem with troll culture, and this is the truth of it. You know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it wasn't like this. Back in the day, if you had somebody you watched on TV or anywhere else, or you heard on the radio, if you didn't like them, you just didn't like them. And now everybody is accessible. Hi, Jake. Good to see you. Everybody is accessible. And, you know what it is? It's death of 1,000 cuts. You know, they just don't stop. It isn't just Charlie. You know, Charlie was murdered because of things he said, because he was bold. He talked about Jesus. And his yardstick that he used all the time was the Bible, was his faith. Public figures. I'm not going to focus too much on the chat, you guys. Tatsy Doll, good to see you. As I say, I'm not going to focus on the chat. There have been so many fatalities over trolling. And I feel like I can actually talk about this because I have been trolled. People sit behind a keyboard. Here's some of the problems with it. I have some notes I made here. One of the problems is character assassination leads to real-world danger. And that's just the truth of it. False stories, you know what happens? You know, they tell lies about people, they go viral. They prompt harassment, stalking, swatting. Have you guys heard of that? Public figures. If you sit in front of a mic long enough or a camera, you're a public figure. It's what happens. Whether it's a celebrity, an influencer, or a political voice, you're out there, and they sit behind a computer and they just go after you. I'm going to give you some examples. Charlie's obviously one of them. He was killed because of what he said. Let me give you a few others. You guys know Michaela Raines? Do me a favor, somebody with a chat. You know what? Let me do this. Michaela Raines, she had a YouTube channel. Talked about foxes. That's what she talked about. She was trolled forever. They hated her. They just, you know what it is? It's jealousy. Somebody's doing something you can't. That's what it is. She committed suicide. She killed herself over the trolling. You guys ever hear of Hana Kimura? You ever hear of Hana Kimura? Hana Kimura is from Japan, a professional wrestler. She killed herself at age 22 from relentless cyberbullying after an on-screen argument. Her death led to a new Japanese legislature against that. Hi, Audra, good to see you. You guys ever hear of August Ames from Canada? Died by suicide in 2017 after being targeted with thousands of hateful tweets over a casting comment. Her death exposed the cruelty of cancel culture and how quickly online mobs can turn fatal. You guys ever hear of Amanda Todd in Canada? She wasn't a creator in the modern influencer sense, but she was a teen whose 2012 suicide became one of the earliest viral examples of cyberbullying and deadly consequence. You guys ever hear of Caroline Flack from the UK? She was a television host of Love Island. You guys ever hear of her? She killed herself in 2020 after months of online abuse following negative press coverage. The slogan, "Be kind," trended worldwide in her memory. You guys ever hear of Chloe Middleton, also from the UK? Influencer whose 2020 suicide was initially reported as a suicide tied to online harassment, though the details were disputed. Her story highlighted how internet cruelty can push creators to breaking points. There's a lot more. There are several famous people who've been trolled and have spoken out about it. Keanu Reeves, constantly impersonated, targeted by fake social media accounts, spreading scams. Had a case. Look at Lindsay Ellis, popular video essayist, who quit YouTube after a wave of harassment in 2021. She wrote that the mob's appetite for destruction made continued content creation impossible. I can go on and on. Here's the issue. Anonymity, that's what it is. Anonymity breeds cruelty. It's the truth. Trolls act without empathy because they face no real world consequences whatsoever. If they haven't demonetized me already, they're going to do it now. I've been trolled. I had people that celebrated my dad's death in video. I've been called a serial rapist. I mean, in titles. I've been called a pedophile. How about that? The P word. Now, I passed the FBI criminal, Katie, here's my girl. I passed an extensive FBI criminal background check to get here. None of those things are true. Viral mob mentality. That's what it is. Once hate begins, right, what happens is others pile on for entertainment and validation. It's just the truth. And then there's the algorithmic amplification. Katie, got a snack for you if you get in the basket. Controversy drives engagement, which rewards hate speech in the system, in the algorithm. That's what happens. We talk about it all the time. Mental health stigma. This is true. Listen to this one. The internet was a mistake. That's a great comment, Vanilla Coke. I'm glad you're here. Creators often feel pressure to appear strong and not let it get to them. Fact. Krista Molenda. There she is. There's no responsibility on platforms. Let me give you a good example. I've got people have trolled me forever. Not forever. Half of the time I've been a content creator, I've been trolled. A little more than that, actually. People made videos where they posted the phone number of the Department of Homeland Security and urged the people that watched to call and say that Tommy and I were involved with human trafficking. We were investigated by the Department of Homeland Security. There are people in this chat right now who were contacted by the Department of Homeland Security about us. Now, none of that was true. Now, I remember I reached out to YouTube. Hang on one second. Blowing my nose. A little bit of stuffed up nose. I reached out to YouTube and said, listen, I've got a silver play button. Only 400,000 channels have ever gotten one out of the 70 million. You think it might carry just a wee bit of weight? I said, there are people that just lowlifes that are, are you not going to protect me? They don't care. You know why? Because the algorithmic amplification keeps people coming back. They're not going to stop it. It was a drag. Our home was vandalized. My brother's car was vandalized. We were followed everywhere we went. I'm not making any of this up. We went to church one morning. My mom, my brother, and I, we were followed by the Department of Homeland Security. True story. You guys ever heard of swatting? You guys know what swatting is? Let me tell you what swatting is. I'm reading this from you. Swatting is when someone makes a false emergency report, be it a bomb, a hostage, active shooter, something like that, to provoke SWAT to show up at a chosen address. It's become a tactic used by malicious actors, scumbags on the internet. They do it a lot to gamers and YouTubers. There was a great case, Andy Finch, in Wichita, Kansas. Have you guys ever hear this one? In 2017, a host, they called 911 and said that there was violence at his home. The SWAT showed up, shot and killed him. He's dead, and he wasn't doing anything. I mean, doxing. Do you understand that doxing is a federal offense? If somebody is using a stage name like me and Tommy, we did it to protect our families. But if it's funny, Gordash has that electric supercar, Brother Scoville Electric. They dox it. They put your name out there. And the reason I chose to use Johnny Scoville is because my daughter was a diver at the time. And now she's in medical school. She's doing great, by the way. I talked to her yesterday. But I didn't want them going after my daughter, so I used a stage name. If somebody uses a stage name and you post their information, it's against the law. It's done every day, every single day on me, every single day on Tommy, every day. You think YouTube would care? Sorry about not muting that, folks. You think YouTube cares? Nah, they don't care. It's feeding the algorithm. stalking. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You know where the word fan comes from? The word fan comes from the word fanatic. When I started with all the trolls starting after me, I've been at shows before where somebody will walk up and say, I'm your biggest fan. My first instinct is either to hit him in the throat or run away. Because my first thought is, are you the next one? Let me tell you something. The person that posted the video with the Department of Homeland Security, the last email he sent to me said that he loved me. He loved the channel. He was once the biggest fan. He said, 6 months ago, I was chasing the dragon, but now I'm chasing the heat. And he finished by saying, chase the heat forever. Went on to call me a pedophile. Goes after my brother and I just constantly for years and years and years. And there are people in this chat that watch it. Watch their videos. Do you know what happens when you watch a video? It pisses me off. You know what happens when you watch a video like that? It pushes it out in the algorithm. I have people that message me and go, well, I just want you to know what's being done. A long time ago, I said, if you message me that, I'm blocking you. If you send me an email saying, this is what they said about you, I heard it, I block you because you're one of them. And it's so bad that they'll make videos about you that aren't true. I have had people that I was so close to, people that I've broke bread with, prayed with, gone to church with, that are trolling me now. One of them said they were going to do everything they could to try to get in the way of my immigration process. How about that? All of it stems from trolling. From that's what it is. Now Charlie's was the pinnacle, the apex of it all. He was the high. It doesn't get any worse than that. That's the most extreme example, but that's what killed Charlie Kirk. You know, you're accessible. Hang on one second, I'm blowing my nose again. I was in church Sunday, and somebody at church was struggling with allergies as well. That's what's going on right now. Now that it's never going to stop. And I said that like suicide, that's the death of 1,000 cuts. They keep going at you, going at you, going at you, and you got to put on that brave face because it's your job. And eventually, you know, so many have killed themselves. And I gave you just a handful of examples. Let me tell you something. I used to date a girl was with a girl in Australia. Her neighbor, I think it was a 13-year-old girl, was harassed at school. The parents approached the school and told them about it. She would come home and go into her bedroom. You think the harassment stopped? It went online. One day, the mother woke up and she was hanging from a tree in her backyard. I'm not making this up. It's brutal. It doesn't stop. And even though I'm saying this, there are people in this chat that are going to continue watching it. I don't know what you're getting out of it. But it's an evil, evil thing. And it doesn't stop, man. We have a responsibility. You know, the way I kind of see it is this. I've said this a lot. It's what are you consuming? What are you consuming? Garbage in, garbage out. It's a scary thing. As much as somebody can love you is as much as somebody can hate you. And I'm telling you, I don't have anybody who trolls my brother or I that were just a viewer, that just kind of, I don't know, Audra, you may have, I didn't see it. But my mods are my mods. I didn't know where I was going. I lost my train of thought. It's never going to stop. You know what I mean? And I put on a brave face. Here's the thing. Charlie never addressed it. He just kind of kept his head down and did his job. And eventually they did it. You saw what happened. I really believe that's what killed him. You could argue with me and say it wasn't. I'm telling you, I believe that's what did it. When the very first, I think it was year 2 that I was a YouTuber, I made a video saying, it was a series, a 2-part series saying, so you want to be a YouTuber? And I was like, hey, it's fun. Here's the thing. I made another one a year ago, so maybe 2 years ago. Somebody came up to me at this point and said, I want to be a YouTuber. You know what I tell them? don't do it. No, you're putting yourself out. You know what happens when you put yourself out there? You give yourself a part of yourself. And then there are certain people that are fine with that. But there are other people that's not enough. They want more. And when you don't give them more, there's a fire. They can't stand next to it, so they try to put the fire out. That's how it works. It's absolutely evil. And it isn't going to stop because it feeds the algorithm that makes money. How many times have you guys ever seen a really, really positive message on the front page of a newspaper? Do you ever? When somebody makes a mistake, and there aren't even newspapers anymore, I don't think. There might be somewhere. But back in the day, if they made a mistake in a newspaper, where would they put the retraction? If it was a front page story, the retraction would be in the back page, where nobody looks at it. So I'm telling you right now, if you're thinking about being a YouTuber, think it over. There's no, now people are talking about it. When I started my channel, there was nobody saying, hey, watch out. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a brutal thing. And the sad thing is, it's just that hate. We're in a day and age where it's like there's so much hatred going on. And not to pull religion into this, but guys, open your Bible. In Revelation, it says that in the end days, which is what we're all experiencing right now, things that are evil will be perceived as good. And things that are good will be perceived as evil. Sound familiar? That's what's happening right this very minute. True story. Gornash says, if you got that hate because of pepper videos, imagine now. But the scripture mentions and warns us about attacks when talking about Jesus and faith. Gornash, I get death threats every week. I do. All the time. Now, here's the thing. If I were in the United States, I'd still be talking about what I'm talking about, but I'd be looking over my shoulder a lot more. Excuse me. I feel a lot more safe here. I really do. Look at this. There's my friend. I love Tracy. Tracy says, trolls are why I have no YouTube content on my channel. And I'm not fooling. There'll be videos made about me this week. It doesn't stop. I don't know. Here's what I think it is with most trolls. I'm not sure all of them, but they hate what they see in somebody, what's missing in them. Whether it's success, confidence, whatever, a play button, but they hate in what they're looking at what is missing in them. And that's what I really believe. George says, death threats for what? I eat peppers. I also talk about my faith in Jesus. And I didn't talk about that for the longest time. And the reason I did is I wanted to appeal to the broadest audience because I want my channel to be a success. I didn't start the channel. This is the truth. I didn't start to get rich and famous. I'm neither. I started because it was fun. And I said a lot. I said, if it ever gets to a point where it's no longer fun, I'll stop making videos. And for a while, the fun stopped. If you remember, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I stopped. I kind of slowed things down a lot for a while. It's fun again. It's a lot of fun. I'm sorry. I got to blow my nose one more time. Please forgive me. Hi, Shade. I had an email sent to me. It was Owen something just last week that said that my family should be going through the same thing that Charlie Kirk's family is going through right now. He said in his email that if I ever come back to the United States, he would find me. And if he didn't, somebody else would. And that wasn't the only death threat I got last week. So there's a lot of evil out there. There really is a lot of evil. So I pray at night? I pray that the world would turn to God. Because let me tell you something. Love is the only thing that's going to fix things. Because there's so much hate right now. There really is. And that's what they want. You need to understand that's what, and it's how I sound like an absolute lunatic by saying this, but of course, Tessie, Mark, the powers that be, Illuminati, I don't know who you want to call them, Mossad, if it wasn't demonetized yet, that did it. They want to keep the fighting. They want this because the more we're doing this, the less we'll actually turn to the solution, which is love. If you look at what's going on in Portland, it's just insane. Everything. It doesn't. You pick a country. There's my country. Like I live in Ecuador. Beautiful. There's nothing bad going on here. It's the safest place I've ever been. Lifetime. Venezuela. There are drug ships getting shot. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not taking a stance on that. But you pick a country, and there's hate going on right now. It really is. So what's the solution? I'll tell you what. I'm not going to stop. Because, I felt like a coward when Charlie was killed. Here's the problem. Charlie spoke his heart, and he used the yardstick he used was the Bible and his faith in Jesus. And what happened is so many people like me, I was a coward. I didn't say, boy, that guy's right. I watched him for years. I did watch him for a long time. But I didn't stand up and say he's right. So what happens is when the whole world is silenced because they don't want to get attacked, right? They keep their mouths shut. What happens is the people that watch the only guy that has a pair of balls, talking and telling the truth, he looks like a lunatic. They made everybody's silence contributed to it. They made Charlie look like a lunatic. And then when he got killed, a lot of people said, I got to find my balls all of a sudden. And then people stood up and said, no, man, he's right. You know how many people that are out there speaking their heart now and telling the truth? And then what happens is people are realizing that maybe we're not the minority anymore. Mark says gloves came off. They sure did. They sure did. And I'm not going to stop. Here's the truth. I'm not that, I'm not scared of dying. And I don't think anybody's going to kill me here, but I'm not worried about it. I know where I'm going. Cody says, Jesus' words, while pinned to the cross, should give us no excuses to not forgive and love. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. We should all look to that when we have resentment within. Well, that's about as truthy as it gets right there. It's the truth. I've told forgiveness is the basis of my faith. Do you know what? I pray for I don't know all the trolls. I know a couple of them who their names are. I pray for them by name. I swear to you, I do. So, it is what it is. I know in the end, this is a relatively short journey we're doing here. There are a lot of people that don't believe, that think, nobody, something though, mythical beast? Equating abortion to genocide? You think that's crazy? I don't at all. How can you even say that? More kids have been born than every war put together, more than the Holocaust and everything else. And you don't see that you think that's asinine? Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm calling you out on that. I don't think he's wrong. How about that? He was extreme, but you know what? He believed that every life deserved to be protected. And if you have a problem with that, you have a problem with me then, because that's what I believe. It's a hard thing. If a woman's raped or it's incest or something like that, then I'm okay with that. It's still a hard thing. Charlie was hardline, but what was his yardstick? The Bible. Here's the problem. Forever. You know what happened? Forever. I'll pray for you, practical jokers. I'm telling you, forever. A lot of people do this. You see your faith in the Bible, like I'll take some from column A and some from column B. Some part you can go with. It's I can groove on that. Yeah, this is a little extreme. Charlie's chips were in the middle, every one of them. And he didn't. There was no gray area. It was black or white. That's it. So the truth of it is this. If you had a problem with stuff Charlie said, you had a problem with God's word. Good luck with that. Have a good time with that. Here's the deal. And I'm sorry, this is turning into a religious thing, but this is the truth of it. At the end, everybody here, every single person watching here, you're going to die one day. All of us. Nobody gets out alive. Nobody. And one day, you're going to be on your knees in front of God, your creator. And you're either going to hear, well done, thy good, faithful servant, or you're going to hear him say, I didn't know you. There are people that are going to argue and say, well, it's not really a life until there's a heartbeat or until it's born. You hear all these crazy arguments. Those people say, I want to be able to do an abortion in the 37th trimester. I mean, what does it stop? You know what I think? Let's pick somebody here. I'm going to pick on somebody. Tassie Dahl. Let's pick on Tassie Dahl. That's Mark. He's a friend of mine. Tassie, your hair color, your eye color, your genetic, how tall you are, your sense of humor, every bit of that is in your DNA. And you guys understand that the second the sperm hits the egg, that DNA, a brand new DNA is created immediately. That's when life starts, if you ask me. Sorry, I was going to piss some people off. I don't care. How about that? You know what I think a lot? Tracy says, every child that's aborted is a man or a woman that God could have used to grow heaven's population. True. Here's what I think a lot. What I think a lot is this. Have we aborted the person who's going to cure a disease or be the next Martin Luther King? You know? It's a hard situation. Listen, it's a tough situation. But they killed Charlie because he was black and white, and he was. You're wrong, mythical beast. You're wrong. And I'll tell you what, let me show you how wrong you are. I don't want you around if you're going to be talking like that. That is the truth. How about that? I don't have tolerance for that. Here's the thing. If you're going to go on, people go on my channel and lie about me in comments. If you lie about me in a comment, I'm going to get rid of you. I don't care. Let me tell you how I see being a content creator. You ready? This is going to piss people off too. If blocking somebody, from a content creator's point of view, if blocking somebody makes my job as a content creator this much better, I mean the most minuscule, this much easier, you're done. I don't care. I don't care. I didn't do this for subs. Look, we want to see something funny. I'll give you guys a kick. This is a good time. Hey, by the way, if you're still watching Mythical Beast, if you want to come back to my channel, you can email me and we'll discuss it. Let me show you something funny to show you how little I give a damn about it. I told you I didn't do this for subs or anything else. Tommy and I have a bet to see who can lose the most subscribers. And we're doing it because we're telling the truth and speaking about things. That's the number of subscribers I've lost in the last, look at this, in the last 28 days. And that's 290% less than I've been losing. I lost a child too. My first, when I was married to my kid's mom, our first baby was a twin. They were twins. That's it. And one of them, the first day we went to to get the sonogram, we were in the office and I was sitting there. I was looking at the screen and there were things. I said, "What is this thing here beeping?" He goes, "That's a heartbeat." I said, "Well, what is this thing over here beeping?" He goes, "That's another heartbeat." I went, and one of them was beating like this, and that's my oldest son. And the other one was beating like this. It scared the crap out of me. Scared the hell out of me. So we went home, and a month later, she had some cramping and some spotting. We went to the doctor. She did the old sonogram thing. I saw my son. And that was it. And they referred to it as, at the time, they called it, years ago, apparently, before they had the sonograms, they called it vanishing twin syndrome. That's what they called it. In fact, the doctor told us when this happened, that if any time, like 30 or 40 years ago, a woman spotted during pregnancy and still gave birth, that's probably what happened. I can't bash the guy strapped. It's my channel. It is a new DNA. I mean, there's similarities, but it is a new DNA. So anyway, I'm not going to stay on here too long. This was about what killed Charlie. It was the troll culture. There are trolls in this chat right now. You know that? There are. Part of life. Now, remember I said to you that you got to stay, you try to put on a brave face? I'm brave. Now, does it bother me? I'll tell you something. Years ago, it did. I will tell you this. I have never once, not one time have I ever watched a troll video about me. Not one. Ever. What they are, Damien, you know what trolls are? They're cowards is what they are. They're very, very sad and unfortunate people. It's tragic, really. I can't imagine, hating somebody enough to make a video like they made about my brother-in-law. I can't even fathom it. It's such a sad thing. You know why I pray for them? They aren't my friends, but the idea of them going to hell, it's horrific. It really is. It's a sad thing. So what I would tell you is this: stay away from the negativity. If you're in a chat somewhere, if you're watching a video, like a live stream somewhere, and you see, hate in the chat, why are you sticking around? Or if you stumble upon a troll channel, do you realize there are troll channels? So many of them. I'd like to know of the 70 million YouTube channels. I'd like to know how many are just troll channels where they just attack people. It's brutal. The sanctity of life is a human construct. When you meet God, ask him. You let me know how that works for you. Yeah, you don't feed the trolls. I remember friends that started a channel. I would say this to them: if you ever had a dog, a stray dog or a stray cat show up on your back door, and you feed them, where are they going to be the next day? They're going to be right back at your door. Trolls are the same way. All they want is you to say something about them. They want to hear their name. That's what they want. So what I do is I pray for them. It says in the Bible, pray for your enemies. It's like pouring coals on their head. Look at this. Love is the door we need to walk through. Forgiveness is the key that opens it. It's a beautiful thing. It's true. I smell a Twisted Sister song in this summer. We're not going to take it. Great song. Anyway, anybody have any crazy questions you want to ask me? Since we're all about it, let's do it. Look at this. Wagsy says, honestly, there would be 60% of all YouTube accounts have a troll account. Maybe. It's a sad thing. I mean, like, there's so much negative content. It's crazy. Jason, I'm glad you're here. Keep speaking the truth, Johnny. You're a good man, and that's what really matters. Trolls are just upset with their own lives. That's why I pray for them. And instead of fixing themselves, they take it out on other people. Like I said, they hate in me what's missing in them, or hate in whoever they're trolling what's missing in them. They get their dopamine spike from emotional responses, pretty much like narcissists. Well, they also had, if you look at them, now I'm sure there are some that are super intelligent, right? But the ones that I know of, they're not working with a lot. Why are comments highlighting an opinion deleted, though? You know what? If it's something that I disagree with, it's my option. How about that, Roger? Fair enough. My channel, my rules. That's how it goes. And the great thing is my mods know my heart. And if they see something that's just absolutely wrong and negative, they're going to get rid of it. How about that? You know what? If the door hits in the back on the way out, I'm good with that. And if something I've said pisses you off, I don't care. Listen. Fair enough. Good thing you're not head of state, right? Boy, if they ever made me head of state, that'd be something, wouldn't it? See, when I was a kid, there was no, you know what a troll was? A guy said something to you on the playground, and you punch him in the face. You beat the living crap out of him, or he beat the living crap out of you, but that's how things were handled. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm just saying we've lost our way, I think. What happened is, do you realize if you're having argument with somebody and you do this and bump them, that's assault? We're in a strange place. Wagsy says, thanks for the info, Johnny. I'm chasing the heat slowly, climbing the Scoville Hill. That's very cool. Wagsy, you look just like my nephew. Big time. Do you guys know Spanx? Doesn't he look a lot like Spanx in that avatar, this picture there? I'm glad you're here. Keep chasing the heat, dude. Yeah, I have a hard time. People want to stir too. That's how people are, though. I'm at that Thai bird. Listen, Thai birds are great. Thai bird's eye, love them. To be honest, opinions are getting really old. We need the truth. Take your opinions, yep, and shove them up your butt. Sorry, I don't care who doesn't like it. Listen, I don't give a rip. I don't care. I promise you, with this, hi Renee, I promise you, when this video's over, I guarantee you I'll lose 20 or 30 more. I don't give a damn. I don't. You know why? Because I spoke a lot of truth today. Said some things from the Bible. Maybe it'll plant a seed. God might water it. Listen, he's doing great, Cindy. He is. Long-term, being hateful and being truthful, and loving person feels better than trolling. Amen, right? Listen, I was in a church once with somebody who's now a troll of mine, actually. But I was in a church once, and the pastor up front was talking about, he even said the word content creators, like people that are online. And he says, pray. This is what he said. I'm going to give you a challenge for the next month. Pray for your trolls. Pray for the people that go after you. That's what he said. And he said, at the end of the 30 days, if you say to yourself, I'd rather go back to hating, then go for it. But I think, so what I did, I started doing that. True story. I started doing that. You know what happened? Charlie Kirk. But within the first week, I couldn't call them my enemy anymore. Katie, please stop that. Katie, I couldn't call them my enemy. You can't pray for somebody every day for a week and call them your enemy. You just can't do it. It won't work. That was a beautiful thing. That's why. And this was a year and a half ago, and I still pray for my trolls. ABAC says, if you give someone a very hot pepper and end up in the hospital, get in trouble for that. I think if you just punked somebody and you told them it was, you stuck some, I think you probably could. I remember when I first moved to Texas at HLMP, Houston Lighting and Power. Somebody was, I got this for you, Katie. You have to wait just a minute. Somebody was put something spicy that somebody was allergic to in their lunch, and the person died. I think if you might be able to, I don't know. I shouldn't even speak on that. If you did it, if you hand somebody, like I've done that to 1,000 people, I say, hey, eat this pepper with me. We made funny videos about it. None of them died. If they did, maybe I'd get in trouble. I don't know. Katie, hang on. Let me. Let's see if there are any more questions. David Woolley, good to see you. I'm really not at all a fan of punking people with peppers and hurting people with it, like unsuspectingly. I think that's a terrible thing to do. Every time I've ever eaten something hot with somebody, I tell them, it's hot. I never say, oh, no, it's not going to burn you. I've never done that. I think the problem is I made it look really easy. So the next one hot minute is going to be tomorrow. How about that? That's how we do it. Yeah, if they're allergic, it would be a problem. You guys hear her? It's a great cat. I'm looking for any more questions. Her snack is made by Churu, and this one happens to be her favorite, which is tuna and salmon. She really loves it. She's such a good cat. Anyway, guys, hate me if you will. I don't really care. I'm not sure if I wish I was more like Charlie. Charlie absolutely was black and white. There's still some things I have some trouble with that I'm trying to be more black and white about. But pray for me. Look at this. Wagsy says, I got suspended at school for taking Tabasco chili. Told the kids it was a lolly, and one kid swelled up and had to go to the hospital. Let me tell you something. When the tube of terror first came out, she's not a pepperhead at all, Tracy. She's such a great cat, though. What a great cat. When she kisses me, she bites me. That's what her kisses are. You're a good girl. You want to see how big this thing is getting? It's absurd. She's a year old. It's such a happy cat. I don't know what's the deal about coons. You can make coon cats, you can pick them up like that. They seem to be okay with it. When the tube of terror first came out, this is true. It's actually hilarious. I sent one to my son, Johnny Jr., and I said, dude, don't take this to school. This is to put on your shelf. I was proud that we made it. What do you think that knucklehead did? Any idea? He did what I would have done when I was a kid. He brought it to school and gave it to, I don't remember how many there were, but every single one of them barked and had to go to the nurses. He came so close to being expelled. It wasn't not just suspended, but expelled. It was horrible. Chris, big fan. Johnny, I'm disabled and bedbound, and I pray for you that you put on a full armor of God and that you're able to stand strong in the darkness of this world. Boy, I'm going to pray for you tonight, Chris Hardy. I kid you not, I will. Thank you so much. Every night, I have a lot of people that pray for me. I can't remember all their names, But hi, Archie's mom. When I go to bed, I swear to you, I do this. Every time I pray that somehow God would bless the people that are praying for me. So I'm going to pray for you, Chris. Matthew Tuttle says, Israel. You know what? Bible says to pray for Israel. And I do. I love the Israeli people. I love the Jews. They're amazing. I have relatives that are Jews, but Jewish government, not so sure about that. There's some talk that Charlie was just getting ready to, there was one of the comments early on, he was just getting ready to kind of break from some of the, policies of the Israeli government. And lo and behold, he ends up dead real quick. Nonetheless, I believe that trolls is a big part of it, people. So I appreciate you guys a lot. To those I offended tonight, not sorry. It is what it is. If you need to unsubscribe, I get it. It won't hurt my feelings. In fact, let me see how many I've lost just since I started. You want to hear something funny? Let me show you where I was at. Let me see if I lost any. This is where I was at when the video started. Let me see where I'm at now. I guarantee I've lost a bunch. Okay. That's not too bad. 17 since the video started. It's breaking my heart, can't you tell? Uh-oh, Cody. In that case, Johnny, I could really use some prayer right now. My marriage is in ashes. Wow, I'm praying for God to turn this around. I know he can. Boy, you want me to tell you something? This may not be easy for you to hear, Cody. When I got married to my kid's mom, I was standing in front of the church. True story. I swear to you, there's a true story. And the pastor said, he looked at me and said, we'll call her Mindy. That's not her name, but for the sake of this story, I'll tell you her name was Mindy. The pastor looked at me and said, hey, if Mindy is ever upset, it's your fault. I said, what? I didn't say what. I just looked at him. That if she's ever upset, it's your fault. And I kind of waited for the punchline, and there wasn't one. And he said, if you always give yourself to Mindy the way Christ gave himself to the church, she will always respond to you the right way. Now, I can't speak for your marriage, but that's what happened. I stopped giving myself to her like I was supposed to. I would say, when you first met her, Cody, did you buy her flowers ever? Do you still buy her flowers? When I worked at the day, I'm not trying to dump it on you. I'm just kind of thinking about in terms of how the pastor told me. When I worked at a dating service, and I promise you, Chris, I'm going to pray for you tonight. I give you my word, no lie, by name. I'll pray for you. But I worked at a dating service for a long time. All right, this is true. And I would sit down with people that were coming in. It wasn't like a Match.com, or I don't even know if that's around anymore. But they would come in and sit down. It was an old-fashioned matchmaking service where we'd match people up like by hand. I didn't even use computers for it. And part of it was getting to learn about these people, like what their past was, why their marriages fell apart, so we could kind of move forward in a better way. And every woman, not every, so many women told me why they left their husbands. And so many husbands told me why their wives left them. And what happened a lot, and I'm not saying this is you, Chris, I promise you I'm praying for you tonight. Bell says he's liking this channel more and more. He's one of the few. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here, Bell. The women would say to me, well, my husband, here's what happens. When a guy dates a woman, when you first meet her, you're on fire. It's the most amazing thing in the world. You know what I mean? You remember what it's like? And then when sometimes it's when you put the ring on, like the engagement ring on. Things, you won. You got her. You did your job. You landed it. Sometimes it's when you get married. Sometimes it's when you have kids. But at some point, you stop doing the things you did to win her over. And I'm not saying that you're doing that, Chris. And please don't make it sound like I am or take it that way. I'm going to pray for you tonight. I give you or Cody. I'm sorry, not Chris. Cody. Please forgive me. I thought it was Chris. I'll take a picture of your thing. But I'll pray for you. That way, I promise you, communication is everything. It really, really is. But this is a true story. We'll end on this. And Cody, I apologize for calling you Chris. I am going to pray for you tonight. I mean it. But I was at a wedding. This is a true story. I was at a wedding in Reno. And I only went because I knew the guy. I knew a guy. He said, listen, you got to come to this wedding. It's going to be a ball. It's going to be a great party. Bill was the guy. Bill knew the couple. I did not. So I just said, I got the weekend free. So I thought I'd go to this wedding for a party. And there was a guy. There was a man and woman at the altar, the whole 9 yards. And I was on the side of, the friends of the bride or the groom. I don't know where it is. So I just sat on the bride side or the groom side. And The woman that gave her vows, and this is what the guy said. Are you ready? He said, I love you. There, I said it. If that ever changes, I'll let you know. True story. It was crazy. I bet you my life they're not married right now. You know what, though? I was a great father. I was a terrible husband. No worries at all, my friend. God bless. I fell short in many ways. I was not the husband that God calls us. Neither was I. But I was born and submitted to Christ through this night season. I want all glory to him. Let me tell you something. I was not a good husband. I promise you this. If I ever get married again, you watch the kind of husband I'm going to be. It's a shame that, it is what it is. All right, you guys. I know I offended a lot. I bet you I've lost 5 more. Hang on a second. Real quick. This will be a good laugh. 2 more. Yeah, you know what? Gorash makes a great point. Cody takes courage to come and share this here. Hope you both can go through this bad phase. You know what's amazing? You know how many people are going to be praying for you tonight? I guarantee you this is going to be just me, Cody. I promise you. Hey, you know what? God, thank you for this awesome stream. Thank you for the people that are in it. I pray for Cody and his wife right now, that you would help them with communication, help them move into a better spot, soften hearts, and help them restore the love that was once there. Please do that. And bless everybody that was in this chat. Thank you for blessing me in the ways you do. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen. And I'm going to pray for you again when I go to sleep. How about that? Appreciate it, dude. I'm glad you're here. I still feel like crap I called you Chris. Wasn't that terrible? Anyway, if you had told me 9 years ago when I started my channel that I'd be praying in videos, I would have laughed in your face. God is good. I'll see you guys tomorrow for 1 hot minute. I promise you I won't pray. It'll just be 1 hot minute. See you guys later. Thank you so much for everybody that's here. You'll be in my prayers tonight. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this was Chase the Heat.